In the noisy customs house, a yellow fox swaggered up to two wolves. At first, the fox saw that they were wolves and felt a bit scared. Then the fox pretended to be a tiger. Hey, hand over your things. I advise you not to hide any stolen goods. I'm not the useless underground people. I will see it if you hide something in your belt, teeth, or bottom of your feet. Hurry and hand it over. This was the common process of collecting items. The yellow fox proudly raised his chin. The wolf wearing the yellow vest narrowed his eyes and stared coldly at the fox. The yellow fox shrank back a bit and didn't dare to be too arrogant. Pete stared at the fox, trying to see if he was a player or not. After a few seconds, he smiled and spoke to the fox. We do have a desire to smuggle things. The fox froze, not expecting this fox to cooperate. The next second, Pete said, we will give you money to collect our things instead of the dwarf. Enough time had passed for Pete to discover that these monsters were led by the fox. The reason they were helping the underground people search their fellow monsters was to report the smugglers and get a bonus reward. That underground person looks very greedy. You will be bled out if you cooperate with him. The blonde foreigner sneered. Is it 4:6 or 5:5? The fox was amazed at the wolf's cleverness. What do you want to say? There was no answer, which meant it was an agreement. Pete took a bottle out of his sleeve. This is what I'm going to smuggle. The fox smiled. The alcohol and tobacco taxes are especially high. In particular, if you want to smuggle the banana pub's wine, then it is very expensive. No wonder you are smuggling it. The fox pretended he was going to report, but his actions were extremely slow and he didn't immediately open his mouth. Pete knew what he wanted and inwardly thought, oh, the Black Tower monsters are as greedy and selfish as any human on Earth. He had chatted with other monsters and knew the approximate price of this bottle of wine. He said lazily, this bottle of wine is worth around 10 silver coins. Smugglers will have to pay 5 silver coins. I'll give you 3 silver coins right now if you pretend not to see anything. The fox exclaimed, am I such a monster? Us foxes are honest and trustworthy people. In addition, after we're done searching, the underground person will come and search you again. You can rest assured that I can pass. Aren't the underground people blind? The fox was silent. Pete laughed. 4 silver coins. Okay. The fox left with 4 silver coins and went to the next monster. Pete's gaze never left the fox's body as a voice was heard beside him, is that fox the person on the monster team? Pete licked his teeth and showed a bloodthirsty smile. Guess. David replied, it doesn't seem like it. The IQ of the underground people generally isn't high. We have participated in many Black Tower games. The higher the level of the boss, the higher the IQ. The low-level bosses are more stupid. The average IQ of monsters is lower than the underground people. David suddenly understood. You mean, that fox is too clever? Then he is a player. Yes, he's too clever. However, he isn't a player. He is a fox and it is normal for him to be smarter than other monsters. Still, if he is the player, then he wouldn't have accepted my advice. He would report me and take my belongings. Now my belongings aren't in that pile and the players on the customs team can't find it. Pete asked unkindly, will the monster team be that stupid? That person is smart but only a little smart. Don't let me catch him. I will tear him to pieces. Pete guessed correctly. Chen Shan was standing at the pile of loot, carefully looking for something unique. She looked for a long time but everything was at least in pairs. There was nothing that existed alone. The little girl held the lollipop and licked it with a calm expression. After a moment, she saw the fox and other monsters gathered in about to debrief the dwarf official. The monsters were checking what they found and taking out small copper and silver coins and giving them to the fox as thanks for pulling them into the team. Then a small female voice was heard. Someone collected money in private and didn't hand the loot over. The monsters were startled and the fox stiffened. Rabbit, what are you saying? Are we this type of monster? The other monsters also reacted. Ah, was there such a way? Indeed, most of the monsters didn't think of this trick. They were only a bit smart until they reached the level of Grandmother Wolf. The Black Tower monsters were mostly naive. They liked to eat humans and the underground people, but they were stupid and their thinking wasn't flexible. If the object of their search were really monsters, the monsters would only be stupidly reported and wouldn't think about bribing them. Only players could think of this and boldly implement it. The fox wasn't going to expose that he accepted a bribe and scolded Chen Shan. Chen Shan watched him and guessed that he was the monster who received a bribe from the second monster team. Chen Shan looked at the yellow fox and said, I'm not blaming anyone. We all made money thanks to fox. You also helped me make a bit of money. She was clearly the one who made the suggestion in the beginning, but she gave all the credit to fox. Everyone was grateful to him and gave him some money. Fox felt a bit guilty. Chen Shan continued, however, if such a thing happened, then I have an idea. I want to ask that person about the monster who gave them the bribe. Don't look at me like that. I hate this type of behavior very much. When I lived in the Spirit Prairie, it was the eagle's mother-in-law who bribed my chief and almost made me get eaten when I went out to find food. I just want to talk to the monster to make him give more money. The fox's eyes narrowed when he heard this. What do you mean? Since he gave someone a bribe, this means that the item he wants to smuggle is very important. He doesn't want to hand it over or have it discovered by the damn underground people. The fox thought about it. The banana wine was so delicious that these underground people might directly drink it and return the empty bottle to the wolf. He had to admit that the underground people were much more cunning than the monsters and always used all types of tricks. He was clever and could find these tricks, but the wolves were stupid and wouldn't know about the empty bottle. Chen Shan kept talking, if we know who those monsters are, the rest of us, can't we charge him some fees as well? The fox stared at Chen Shan with astonishment. Can we do this? The fish had been hooked. Chen Shan smiled. Why not? We just need to say that a few people haven't been searched clearly and we need to search again. If we search again and change the people searching the monsters, can't we collect the bribe again? Clever Mr. Fox, this isn't a losing business. Just give me the information. When I search, I will definitely give you half the bribe as thanks for sharing the information with me. Chen Shan blinked and the fox felt warm. Then the fox asked greedily, why can we only search once? Can't we do it several times? In any case, there are few things that haven't been handed over to the underground people. Chen Shan said it didn't matter. The fox gulped and whispered, everyone, I actually received a bribe. Hey, don't stare at me like that. I didn't mean it. Now I will share the information with you so that all of us can make money. The two wolves might be impatient after being searched a few times and decide to be reported by us. Still, we can get a lot of money before that. It is great. 3 minutes later, Pete was leaning against the wall as he enjoyed the breeze blowing through the window. He saw a strong gorilla walking towards him. There was a faint hunch in Pete's heart. Soon, he saw several monsters approaching and standing in front of other monsters whose items had been collected. The gorilla opened his mouth and said to him, just now, cough, I didn't search clearly. There must be some omissions. I will search you again. Pete didn't react immediately. The gorilla felt ashamed since he wasn't used to this bribery. He blushed and shouted, hey, I said that I'm going to search again. Pete, the blonde foreigner's fist slammed into the wall of the cabin and made a big hole. The gorilla was startled by the wolf and almost wanted to turn back. Pete slowly raised his head and smiled through gritted teeth. Hee, let's talk. How much do you want? Fuck that bastard on the monster team. 3 monsters came to Pete to swindle money and David couldn't stand it anymore. Damn, that bastard must know we are players but he is still hiding in the 20 monsters and we can't find him. Pete, what should we do? We don't have much money left and after a few more monsters, we won't be able to bribe them. That bastard also knows who we are and it doesn't make sense for us to give money anymore. Why don't we just turn in the item? Stupid. What do you know? Once we hand it over, it won't be in our hands anymore. It will be easier for the people in the customs team to take it away. However, if it is in our hands, even if they know we are players, they will have to beat us to take it away and they will reveal their identities in the process. David cried out, then what the hell should we do? Pete laughed sarcastically. Do you really think I can't catch who that bastard is? A minute later, a small and thin rabbit holding a lollipop walked up to David and Pete. David took 4 silver coins from his purse and bribed the rabbit. The rabbit took the silver coins, shrank back with fright and ran away. Pete glanced at the rabbit before looking away. He tapped his fingers on his arm and said, there are 20 monsters and that bastard is hidden among them. That fox isn't the player and the gorilla shouldn't be either. David added, that rabbit doesn't seem like it as well. The task of the monster team is much easier than our task or the customs team's task. It is possible that we are on the same floor as the customs team. They are also on the 5th floor or are at least the 4th floor. That bastard who is their teammate is likely to be the 3rd or 4th floor. Pete smiled coldly. Dear David, you have always been stupid but can you tell me what you think a player on the Black Tower's 3rd floor will be like? In the glass hut, the test of the underground officials was over. Tang Mo deliberately didn't leave any questions empty. If he encountered a strange problem, he would fill in the empty lines so that people couldn't see anything wrong. However, it was still necessary to hand in the papers. The dwarf chief saw that all the items outside were almost completely searched and asked the assistant to collect the test papers. The assistant had just finished when he heard a sharp cry outside the glass window. You really are human. You are the damn humans. In the monster group, the yellow fox was frozen with horror as he pointed fearfully to the 2 wolves standing by the window. The monsters stared vigilantly at the 2 wolves. David and Pete looked at each other in a stunned manner. After a moment, Pete stared at more than 10 monsters on the sidelines. Fuck that damn bastard. There was sudden chaos in the customs hut. David shouted that he wasn't a human but the other monsters didn't believe him. They could wrongly kill 1,000 people but they couldn't let go of 10,000. The weak monsters flee in terror, fearing that they would be killed by the humans. They couldn't beat humans. However, the powerful monsters surrounded the 2 wolves. No one noticed the fox who screamed had crept back into the crowd. The fox whispered, hey, it is suspicious that they would pay 20 silver coins for a bottle of banana wine. Besides, who cares if they're human or not? Throw them in jail and lock them up for a few months. I made them pay so much money that they would retaliate after passing the customs. I won't let you retaliate. Then the fox took out 5 silver coins and handed them to the rabbit. Cough, this is a thank you for reminding me of the reward. The rabbit took the coins and watched the monsters surround the 2 wolves. The fox felt some doubts. Hey, you're so smart. Are you a human? Chen Shan shivered like a frightened rabbit. I am very clever but I didn't do anything. Mr. Fox, aren't you the one who organized everyone to collect the money? The fox looked at her before moving to the side. How can a human be so weak? Ha ha ha. Inside the glass hut, the dwarf chief shouted angrily, what is the situation? The dwarf official outside ran in. Reporting. Sir, it seems that 2 humans have been discovered. Tang Mo quickly turned to look at Fu Wenduo. One word filled their minds, Shan Shan. The chief was happy before his expression sank. Not good, these humans are very strong. I have asked Mr. Peter Pan to come over to help but he hasn't arrived yet. The dwarf chief turned to look at his assistant. The assistant was still thinking about collecting the test papers and the chief roared, "What are you doing with the papers? There are 2 humans outside. Go and catch the 2 humans. Catch them and eat them." The underground people had been doing the test papers for a long time and now they yelled excitedly, "Catch them and eat them." The whole customs department instantly boiled over. The monsters wanted to catch the humans and the underground people also rushed out towards the 2 wolves. The test papers were left behind. Tang Mo quietly tore his and Fu Wenduo's test papers to pieces before doing the same to 4 more underground people. The pieces piled up together and it was impossible to see who wrote them. Fu Wenduo looked at him. Tang Mo said, "Just in case." The 2 of them quickly followed the others out the door. Inside the group of monsters, David was still arguing that he wasn't human. However, Pete was no longer struggling. His eyes stared at the dozen of monsters. Now he was suspicious of everyone except for the fox. This was the time when the person in the monster team was most likely to show flaws. He might pay attention to the underground officials because he was trying to find the customs team's players. This was the heart. No matter how smart a person was, they couldn't avoid their own subconscious behaviors. At this time, all monsters should be looking at them. The only one looking at the underground people should be the bastard in the monster team. Chen Shan Shan held the lollipop and carefully observed the officials who came out of the glass hut. At this time, a voice was suddenly heard from the monster group. "Hee hee, bastard, I found you."